Good day. This video will note some things I noticed through testing weapons after mainline with a primary focus on an effective, but non-essential mod combination with melee. You shouldn't feel forced to build a specific way, this is just something that I found effective and general enough to use post-mainline. Ultimately, against normal enemies, you'll be fine with just about any viable build. By normal enemy, I mean a level 170 bombard, heavy gunner, corpus tech, etc. Any enemy that's pretty commonplace enough, regardless of health, shield, or armor, you will melt with a nigh insignificant difference in time to kill or TTK between combinations of viral, heat, and corrosive. Gas, radiation, electricity, and toxin didn't seem too prevalent in dealing massive damage. Corrosive did seem to outperform viral against enemies like Battleists and Noxes. I want to emphasize, status is not king, nor his crit king. If anything, hybrid would be the king. Why in God's name would you choose one in a universe where you can have both? And I've seen far too many people attempting to sell one over the other, when in reality it's pretty reasonable to do both, especially with melee. Unlike primaries and secondaries, I didn't find impact too annoying on melee, as it could actually assist in getting stealth multipliers and finishers via knockdowns, not to mention that with Corrosive's cap, Shattering impact now has increased viability. Alright, I'm gonna say it, don't hurt me, I'm gonna say it. Controversial thought, but Shattering impact is greater than Corrosive for me. Just about everyone I've seen tested status changes solely on like corrupt heavies, bombards, and the like. The enemies that I have not noticed any significant difference in time to kill between viral, viral heat, corrosive, and corrosive heat. Overlooking instances like the Nox and Battleists where I personally have noticed a big difference in viral and corrosive, but especially Shattering impact. With armor reduction in mind, there's an interesting value on Amalgam Argonac, why is that so weird to say, which could provide or increase armor reduction for those that use daggers, particularly like the Rock to Dark dagger, which now provides high sustain on top of its reasonable damage. Another thing I've noticed is maybe too much emphasis on being greater than 100 status, when it essentially acts as multi-hitting without the fun damage bonus. I've seen very little difference in, say, a full 300% status Lacera, and one that mods for viral, with just viral, hitting about 150% status, with Weeping Wounds. My hypothesis for this is because of the status caps and increased probability of elemental procs. Proccing multiple cap statuses can present an annoying situation where, say, after 3 hits you cap Corrosive, but the following 3 hits at 300% status proc Corrosive for 6 out of the 9 procs, essentially wasting them because only one's needed to refresh. I recall Electric Heat, Slash, and Toxin being the only damaging statuses that didn't cap outside of like Impact, but it doesn't deal damage over time or anything, and Gas, it's gonna change soon, so who cares. For hybrid builds, you want to keep your eyes open for a weapon with about 20% base crit and 25% base status, such as an Encana Prime and Grand Prime. But Rivens and how you build could change what works and what doesn't, like having a crit chance Riven or using Sacrificial Steel on the Falcor could push it to the higher crit tier. Unfortunately, I don't use any of my Zols because I would have to rebuild all of them to get even close to what the base statuses and crit of like Primes have. And I just can't be bothered to redo all that right now. I'm hoping somewhere down the line they give us the ability to reconfigure Zol parts. But that's all for me. Use Shattering Impact or Amalgam Argonac if you're using a dagger in your build instead of Corrosive or Heat, and let me know how it goes. Do you notice a significant difference? Does it feel good? Does it not? I doubt the utility of Shattering Impact will drop after the Lich immunities are removed. Regardless, I'm glad that there's more reason to use these kind of mods outside of, you know, like the one-shot Profit Taker builds. I like to see more possibilities open for more variety in builds. I'd have waited for the gas and impact changes, but from what I've seen, my opinion wouldn't change all too much. But if it does, then I'll update the description. Thank you all very much for taking the time, and I can't wait to see you shatter all that stand in your wake.